Welcome to another episode of the Miami Real Estate Show. Today, I have the pleasure to interview Ines Hegedus, a top producer from ISG. This year, 2015, she is about to close $50 million in sales. However, the most impressive thing is not the $50 million in sales. Is that about 80% of those sales, about $40 million, are coming just from social media. Again, about $40 million of her production are coming from social media. I had the opportunity to meet Ines at the Social Media Week, where she and I were the panelists for the real estate section. Social Media Week was a feature here presented in Miami about a month ago, and we had the opportunity to share the stage. And the things that I learned from her were very, very interesting. So I asked her to be on our show today. The insights, the things you're about to learn in terms of social media, what she shares with us in the interview are amazing. How often should you post? What should you post? How long? For how long have she been doing it before she got results? She's not a writer, and she's been featured in the Wall Street Journal, the magazine Forbes, and the New York Times. Pay very, very close attention, because most agents, when I do the social media seminar, I say, are you using Facebook, or is Facebook using you? For most agents, Facebook is using them. So again, pay very close attention, because the insights you're about to hear from Ines, hopefully you can implement in your business. I'm sure you can. And without further ado, I leave you with Ines Hegedus-Garcia. Until next time, make it a very, very productive day. Take care, guys.
This week's featured property is one of Miami's hottest rooftop locations now for sale on Lincoln Road. Skydeck Rooftop and Venue is a commercial space of real estate and business, including the rooftop in Suite 207 of former Sony Music Building. Offers a breathtaking view of Miami Beach from iconic, Art Deco, streamlined modern landmark building designed by famous architect Robert E. Collins. Located on internationally known Lincoln Road Mall, mere steps from the ocean, New World Center, national retailers, restaurants, and Miami Beach Convention Center. Here's where architecture, lifestyle, and dynamic business come together. For more information, contact Ines Hegedus-Garcia at 305-206-9366.
Welcome to another episode of the Miami Real Estate Show. Today, I have the pleasure to interview Ines Hegedus-Garcia. Ines, thank you very much for being on the show. Welcome.
Thank you so much. It's an honor, true honor.
Well, it's an honor for me because you and I shared the panel. 2 weeks ago was the Social Media Week around the world. And in Miami, we had a chapter. We had a week in a school. It was a very successful event. And you and I were the people invited to talk about social media and real estate. And what you said during the interview, during the panel, was very, very interesting. I was very impressed with what you said. So before we go into social media, and that's what I want you to share with our audience, because we have a lot of agents trying to use social media, and many agents using social media, but it's not working, and you are definitely doing it very, very well. You are closing more than $50 million in sales this year, 50 million, and about 80% comes from social media.
Correct.
So before we go into social media, tell me a little bit about yourself, about your background, how long have you been in the business, and why real estate?
I'm originally from Venezuela.
Okay.
So, panas.
A lot of Venezuelan agents we have,
Yes.
okay?
I came when I was very young, so
Okay.
I did high school and college here, and I studied architecture. I have an architecture degree from the University of Miami.
Wow, very good. Right.
And
The George Perez School now, right? Is it?
oh, I don't know.
Okay.
Oh my goodness, now I'm gonna have to check it when I
Okay.
leave here. Google it when I leave here. But what's interesting is, as an architect, as a newly graduated architect in Miami, we had the opportunity a couple of times to do some real estate deals at the same time. So I saw an opportunity to kind of marry the two and be an architect at the same time that I was a realtor and make money in real estate as well. And then I realized that no, when you're a real estate agent, you have to go full time, and the other stuff just kind of falls in the backside. So you do it well, you do it fully or not. So
part-time job, part-time results, right?
correct, absolutely. So my husband's an accountant, and we made this amazing real estate business together as partners, where he could provide the financial aspect of any real estate deal for an investor, and I could give that architectural
That's a great
consultant.
Team. Again, as a team, very good, very good.
So it was the architectural realtor, and that's how I market myself as well. And that's my niche is architecturally significant and historic homes.
And by the way, because I know you mentioned it during the social media week when we were being interviewed by a good friend, Angelica Bem, who was moderating the panel, you have a site that is called what?
Miamiism.com.
Miamiism, exactly, where you blog, right?
Yes.
And before, my second question is, did you have a mentor coming into real estate and blogging, and how you became so successful in blogging? Did you?
I did not have a mentor in real estate, but I did have a mentor for blogging when I started blogging.
Very good. Who was that person?
Paul Cheney.
Okay.
And Paul Cheney is one of my favorite people in the world.
Okay.
And he's written a couple of books on blogging and using social media for business.
Can you mention one of them?
Is Realty Blogging was his first one.
Okay.
And then the Digital Handshake is the latest one.
Okay, very good. What did you learn from that experience coaching, working with him, or learning from him?
What was great was seeing a different side of marketing that I didn't know existed.
Okay.
So we're taught in real estate school to market a certain way, to work with your sphere. So this opened up a whole dynamic way of marketing yourself in your forte. That was and had an amazing reach that traditional media would not have.
Right.
So he opened up this world of, oh my God, this is amazing.
It's amazing, yes.
And I'm thankful and grateful every day for what I learned from him.
Let me tell you a quick story. I didn't believe in social media 4 or 5 years ago, and I'm on Univision every week. And when I would go there and do my segment, I would see all these experts doing social media when we were on commercial, and I said, this doesn't work. But then Univision assigned me a social media expert, and from that time to now, my business has skyrocketed. I mean, it's not only working with the fear of influence, but it's seeing the true power of social media. And as you said before camera, it's if you know how to use it.
Correct.
I always start my social media seminars when I'm doing a seminar on social media for real estate agents. My first question is, are you using Facebook? Or is Facebook using you? So for most agents, they're being used by Facebook. So tell me one thing. You built a very successful practice. This year, I assume, it's about $35 to $40 million in sales just from social media. How long have you been doing it? Is it overnight success?
No, by no means.
Okay, so how long have you been doing social media?
I started in 2006. So actually, Miamiism is going to have its 10-year anniversary next year.
Wow, 10 years doing social media. And how long before you started seeing results with social media?
When I started blogging in 2006, I would tell you that it took approximately 6 months to start seeing some results.
All right.
I think it's faster now.
Okay.
I think you could definitely immerse yourself in the medium and get faster results, but it was consistent.
Consistency is the key, right?
Absolutely.
When you talk about consistency, you as an expert, tell me what consistency means to you. How often, at what time during the day? Should I do it every day? Should I do it every other day, once a week? How often?
It definitely depends on the platform.
What platforms do you use?
The main one is my blog.
Okay,
and it's a WordPress blog.
Okay, very simple, the most common platform in the internet.
And it's easy to fix problems.
Right,
anyone can help you. It's
you
mine.
have all the plugins.
I have control. So we discussed this during Social Media Week. But more importantly than that, it's defining the platform, how much time you're going to put into that particular platform. With the blog, I possibly write 4 or 5 blog posts per week.
Amazing. 4 or 5 per week.
Per week.
Okay.
Now, when I started, it was daily. There was a daily post, no matter what. Sometimes I posted 2 or 3 times per day. I needed to learn my audience. So at first, I needed to identify an audience. I needed to learn the audience. I needed to know.
Very good.
specifically what results I would get. I did a lot of A/B testing.
Okay.
What kind of
Explain
results?
for those of people that don't know, what is A/B testing?
So what happens is you try a certain thing for a couple of days, that doesn't work, or let's go with color since I love color. So my website is orange, and let's see what traffic I get from my website while it's orange for a specific amount of time, and then I change the color to green to see if I get better results if the color is green. And that A/B then, that I get better results from the orange. Let's stick with the orange. If I put my call to action on the right side, or if I put it on the left side, what better results? So I tweak the site and its results from that A/B testing.
Now, very good. As you see, this is an expert doing social media, and you mentioned before camera, it's not about the tool, it's about what?
Listen, it's about the knowledge and how you use the tool.
Exactly.
You know, it's.
What do you do to get that knowledge? You work with somebody, a professional.
I believe truly in hiring professionals to learn from. Absolutely. Today and age with social media is difficult because everybody claims to be an expert. Everybody claims to know what they're doing, and you need to be extremely careful of who to hire and be behind them.
I'm a coach, and I will always say the same thing. I have a coach, and people say, why would you have a coach if you're a coach? Well, very simple. It's very difficult to see the picture when you are inside the frame, all right? So you need somebody else telling you. I mean, the best people, the most successful entrepreneurs, athletes, performers have somebody telling them what to do, because it's difficult to see it from your own perspective. And that's what you did, and that's why you achieved such a great success. So what systems do you use? So you're blogging, you're posting at least 4 to 5 days per week. You used to do it every single day. It took you about 6 months. What are you posting when you post in social media?
Well, that was also, it's going to be different for everybody out there.
Exactly.
I think that's the most important. When you try to copy someone, it doesn't mean you're going to get results. So my advice is always don't copy. Please, try to figure out what works for you. I would tell you that in the last 6 years, I have about 2,500 articles.
2,500.
Yes.
2,500 articles. All right,
So
that's content.
It's content. So at any time, if I'm too busy, if I have a client out of town, wherever it is, I can repost. I'm very honest about it. I put the date that it was originally written about it. But I repost. I can use my old content. Content comes from...
Recycle it, right? Right, of course.
Absolutely.
I do the same thing, of course.
And then the content comes mostly from questions from clients. If a client comes to you with a question because they don't understand how the system works, and you answer that question, if you answer it in a blog post format, you know that article is going to help answer questions for many other. It makes the system, just makes you efficient.
It's just amazing. This is what happens. This is what I say when I'm doing the social media. I first start by saying that content is king, and the success you've had is because you're creating content. You are not selling yourself. The most powerful marketing tool in the world is teaching. You're not saying, I'm number one, I'm selling millions of dollars in real estate. You're giving value. Stop trying to be a person of success and try to be a person of value, and you will have great success. That's what you're giving to your audience. All right? You're giving that expert, you're positioning yourself as an expert. But who creates that content? Your assistant or you?
No, I create my content.
Got it. I'm asking you that question because it's so critical. You're creating that content.
It's my voice.
Exactly. And by creating that content, you become a what?
An expert.
An expert. So
Absolutely.
you can promote as an expert, and then people see you as a what? As an expert. All right? So you're using, what other platform other than the blog are you using?
Listen, I'm pretty much in all the platforms.
Okay.
If you look, Miami is from Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, obviously, Pinterest. So I'll be there. Snapchat is like my new toy.
Okay.
So I'm always testing them too. They may not work. They may be, a time suck, as I call them, and you have to identify that too. Like, I love Instagram. I don't think I've gotten any business from Instagram. But I just love it because I'm so visual, and the photo represents the lifestyle. And so I know for a fact that the amount I spent there I'm not getting the ROI that I want, but I'm conscious of it. It's not, I'm not blinded by spending too much time on a platform that doesn't produce results.
Now, in order to be successful using social media as a real estate agent, you as an expert, how long should an agent spend daily on social media?
Listen, when I started, this was with my husband. It was, you would ask him, and he would say, "I didn't sleep."
Okay.
You know, I loved social media more than I loved him.
Okay.
It was insane.
Okay.
So I would tell you, I would be like 6 hours, 7 hours. I
Okay.
really immersed myself in how to do it well from the
Okay.
start.
Right.
Today, it's so much easier because we have our phones.
Right.
And as a matter of fact,
That's right. Back in the days, you didn't have those
No.
phones. That's
It was, I mean, we
of
have.
a very slow technology.
Right, but we did have phones, but it was a photo. It wasn't as we have it today.
That's true, yeah.
And funny enough, I'm actually nervous because I don't have my phone on me, which is surgically attached. My husband would also say.
Okay.
So it's a little funny that I'm
Okay.
nervous at the phones. But you know, you can do all the Twitter on the spot. You know, it's
Right.
live conversation.
Right.
Real time. So
Okay.
you have that on your phone. The blogging is a little bit different because there's a thought process behind
right.
it. So what I do is when I think of ideas or I get blog fodder, as we call it, I usually have notes on my phone where I put ideas for blog posts that I write in
Okay.
the future.
So you have like a notepad in your phone, like a note
Right.
where you put all the ideas that you want to develop a blog for whatever topic it is.
Correct.
Very, very. Can you share with me a success story using social media? And I know you shared one during Social Media Week when we were in the panel.
Well, the best articles that I write are the ones that are architecturally related.
Okay.
So they have something architectural. So when for example, I wrote an article about an Alfred Browning Parker home in Miami Shores.
Okay.
And when I write, it's like I light up. You know, you can see the room light up in the writing. And it's funny because I'm not a writer. We discussed this too.
Oh, very good point.
Yes.
I'm not a writer. We're going to touch on that. Okay.
So the couple read the article and said, "This is our agent." They wanted to buy a second home in Miami, so they were considering.
Were you talking about yourself?
No, never.
That's the point. Very
Never.
good. Never. Very good.
Never.
So they said this is
So
the agent.
they sent me a really long descriptive email, and I know when I get the descriptive emails from a client, I go, this is my perfect client.
Okay.
So long story short, I sold them a unit in Midtown.
Okay.
Then I sold. One of them is an architect. Then they sold that unit, and they bought an apartment. So that's 3 sales from them directly.
Amazing.
They're already contacting me about selling, and I'm holding them back. I'm saying at least stay there a little bit. But in addition to that, the referral source that has come from them. So they are what I define as my perfect client.
Now, here's the point, and the beauty of social media and the day and age we live today is that those posts will be there forever. They're working for Ines 24/7, right? And they're positioning you as an expert, and you never have to talk about yourself. All you're doing is not only that I'm getting business, is that you're truly helping people with those blog posts. That's the beauty of it, is that not only you're helping yourself, but you're helping other people without talking about yourself.
It's pretty funny. The historic preservation post that I write, what's the right type of window for a Mediterranean revival home, for example, I get calls from all over the nation saying, "I just bought a Mediterranean revival. Can you
incredible.
help me with the right type of window?" So
And I think you were featured in many large newspapers and.
well, the beauty of these architectural blogs that light me up is that I get picked up by the New York Times, by
that's
Forbes,
amazing.
by the
That's
Wall Street
amazing,
Journal.
Right?
Yeah.
So imagine talking about free press, all right? It's not you talking about paying a newspaper, which is extremely expensive, paid the New York Times. It's not talking about yourself, but they doing an article about you, about your expertise. That's the beauty, the power of technology, which is how much do you spend on your platform and your social media outlets? How much do you spend a month?
When I started, I can tell you I did one of the, I probably paid $1,500 for the blog platform, for
but
design.
that was to start it.
To start.
Right.
When I've designed it, I probably spend, I don't know, $3,000-$4,000 anytime I redesign
Right.
it. But WordPress is free. There's a free version of it.
Exactly.
You know, it's.
And how much do you spend a month? Very little.
Very little.
Very
so
little.
I mean, time is money.
Right, well, yeah, but you know, but if you want to invest, paying somebody to do an advertisement on for you on the in any newspaper or magazine, you still have to invest the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Right. So, what has been the most successful technique or strategy or marketing strategy for you on social media? Anything in particular that you say, okay, this for me it's working really, really well right now?
writing about my niche is definitely important.
Okay.
I realized early on, thank goodness, that if you write about business you don't want, you're gonna get the business you don't want.
Right.
So if I don't want to do short sales, let me not write about short sales.
Very good point.
If I don't want to do a certain type of business, don't write about that.
Right.
So I stay away from writing about business I don't want, obviously.
Take note, guys. Very good point.
And then the best one is if you write as if you're writing an email to your favorite client, you're gonna get that business. It's imagine for any agent out there, that perfect client that you love working with, you know, that everything went fine, everything was aligned. You actually write to that person, and that's the business you attract. It's magic.
Right. Beautiful, beautiful. Now, tell me about some of the common mistakes you see agents making when they're using social media.
I think broadcasting is a major mistake.
Okay.
So just
What do you mean by broadcasting?
you create noise. So oh, I got a new listing. So let me put this new listing. Here's a new listing on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Pictures of the listing, and you're not creating conversation.
Content, relevant content. Who cares about what you sold or what you listed, right?
So it's very similar to the postcards we send. So we send out, you know, 1 million postcards. The result is 2%.
Right.
It's a marketing
And
result.
that's a very good.
And that's a high one, right?
That's a high one. Yeah.
So they're grabbing social media as if it was traditional media. Let me broadcast everywhere without making any meaningful impact or conversation.
Got it. That's a word, meaningful. So that's the number one mistake. Any other mistake you see people making? I see that they don't do it regularly. They don't have the discipline to. Sometimes they bombard their social media outlets, Twitter, Facebook. You know, they do 10 posts one day and then they disappear for 3 months. And I think you touch on that in Social Media Week, where
it needs to be consistent in any platform. So instead of trying to be in all platforms at once and doing everything not well enough, pick one. Pick one platform, try to immerse yourself and be really good at that platform and consistent on that platform.
Now you as an entrepreneur, as a successful real estate professional, what habits, routines do you have in a daily basis that contributes to such a great success?
Everyone will laugh, but I kickbox.
Listen, I've been thinking about doing kickboxing. I play tennis every single day of my life, so I don't have the time, but I would love to hit those.
That just releases every tension. It's the best, the best. As a matter of fact, I injured my knee a couple of months ago, and I couldn't kickbox for a few months, and I could feel the buildup. There's nothing like punching a bag.
Exercise. At what time do you do it?
As early as I can in the morning.
That's right. It's so critical. For us as entrepreneurs, as real estate agents, to make sure that early in the morning we go into that cardio exercise. You know, I play tennis and my wife says to me, I mean, go play tennis. You know, go play tennis, and I have to play tennis every day. And when I don't play tennis, I feel it. And when you don't do the kickboxing, you feel it. Yep. You are not the same person. I'm in a bad mood, so very, very important. Now, what advice would you give, not only about social media, but in general? I mean, you're closing more than $50 million this year. That's a very successful real estate practice. Practice is not you only, it's your husband too involved. What advice would you give a new agent getting started in the business?
I would tell you to focus on your niche. We all have something that we're really good at. And we go to these real estate classes and we generalize and we pick an area, but you know what, there has to be something you're good at.
Right.
And find the relationship of that you're good at with real estate. There's always a relationship. Right. You know, whether you like burgers, you can specialize in burger joints. I mean, it could be as trivial as that.
Right.
And it's a matter of finding that and finding what value you add to the industry.
And the value comes with that content creation you mentioned about.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, any other book that you would recommend the audience? I mean, you talk about realty blogging.
Yes.
Any other book that you would recommend the audience reading about real estate, about the business?
You know what? It's funny because I read quite a bit.
Okay.
So anytime I see, any of the marketing gurus out there, you always.
Who's your favorite, by the way?
Scoble, I would tell you, is one of my favorites.
Okay, very good. Mine is Seth Godin. And
Godin is an awesome.
And a marketing genius.
Absolutely.
It's Joe Polish. I don't know if you hear
I
about
I have not. I'm going to have to look him up.
It's an amazing marketer. I mean, and Dean Jackson, they're both partners in a podcast that's called the I Love Marketing podcast. Amazing, recommend it, highly recommend it. So, how do you see social media evolving in real estate in the next 3 to 5 years?
I see it's very similar to what that agent is doing, that they're grabbing the traditional media and treating social media like that. We need to find relevance in because we're creating so much noise. I think we hit a little bit on this, the fact that I switched when I got my license. It was my face and my husband's, our mugshot on our card, and the whole typical thing, and we realized we don't want an agent-centric approach to marketing. We wanted a client-centric approach.
You got it. Repeat that again. You don't want
an agent-centric approach. So it's not about me. It's about the client.
Very good
In the
point.
case of Miamism, it's not only about the client, it's about Miami's lifestyle that I sell.
You got it.
So there's just so many ways to do that and do it well and do it in our own particular style without copying. And so social media, I think it's going to get to a point where that interruption marketing, the spam filters, the TiVo, all that, people don't want to hear your noise anymore. So we need to focus and be more specific about how we use these platforms.
Very good point. You talk about the noise, and we see 20 years, 30 years doing exactly the same thing. You see a website or you see a postcard, and I always say it during my seminar, says the typical postcard, right? The picture profile from 20 years ago, right?
Yeah.
Then you have the just listed, just sold. Like Jay Parker from Douglas Elliman said, nobody cares what you sold last month, all right? Then your slogan, your real estate agent for life, and then the call to action is call me, right? It's what you said, the agent-centric approach to the client-centric approach. So one final question. If you could give a piece of advice to a experienced agent, what would it be?
I would tell you, in architecture, when you're designing a property, you do a conceptual rendering when you start. So when I was working with clients that were building a house from scratch, I would give them this, I would listen to their needs, their wants, what they wanted this house to look. I would do a conceptual rendering and I would say, put this away, fold it and put it away. 3 months down the line, when the house looks totally different than what their concept and vision was, I would say, pull that out. So we would pull this out and then we'd go, oh my God, it was like a slap in the face. And I would say to experienced agents to do the same thing. Go back, look at your concepts, look at your roots, look at what fills you, and stick to that. Because sometimes we just take all kinds of random ways away from our original concept.
Very good. Going back to the root, going back to what you said, the perfect client, right? Now, if somebody, the agents want to follow you or ask you any question, or clients want to go to your site, again, the site is?
Miamism.com.
Right, and to follow you on Facebook or Twitter?
So everything's going to be Miamism.
Okay.
In Facebook,
Very simple.
so it's Miami SM, S as in social, M as in media.
Okay.
Gotcha, no?
Okay.
And the only one that's different is Twitter, because I'm an early adopter, and I have Ines, which is
your name,
which is very rare.
Ines, it's been a pleasure having you here on the show.
Pleasure
Thank
is
you
mine.
very much for all the insights. It's great to see you again. We saw it about 2 weeks ago in Social Media Week. And thank you for all your insight. I know real estate agents are going to appreciate that. And I wish you the best and continued success with your real estate practice.
Thank you so much, Orlando.
Thank you. Until next time, make it a very, very productive day. Take care, guys.